Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Becoming. Today, we have James Turner, who is actually part of our team. He is the Chief Community Officer for the Billionaire Lynx Club. Why don't you just start off with how you got into this space?
Sure, yeah. So I've been in crypto for a few years. Since I started way back in like 2013. But like I didn't know what it was. I played a game called Tribal Wars, and I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's a real nerdy game. It's like clicker game. And I was the community treasurer, and one of the guys had like an idea of using Bitcoin, because it was this cool new thing to like store value for our treasury, so we didn't have to like transact in like USD. And I don't know, it was like he sold it as like a more secure thing, and we didn't know what was going on, but we were like, yeah, cool, whatever, Bitcoin. And so that's kind of my first foray into like the world of crypto. But I didn't do anything with it until about 2017, because I saw what happened. I saw like pump, and everyone started talking about crypto again. I was like, I remember this whole Bitcoin thing, so I started looking into it. And I really got involved in like the social media space on crypto. So like I got involved with the Steam blockchain back in 2017. It was like the first crypto blockchain, and I made some music on there. It got pretty popular on that platform, and I loved the entire idea of everything, how it was. It was community based. Like that whole system was based off of like how many clicks you got. You got like a certain percentage of the pool of the day's funds, and it was just really cool because it was controlled by the people. It was completely different versus Web 2, where it was controlled top down. This was like the people decided what they liked, and what they liked gave rewards to the people they liked. Of course, it was gamed, and big whales came in and destroyed it, but as it happens. And then after it dumped, in 2018, and it was a really bearish time, I took a step back, and because I just thought, okay, this might be over. I might have had my time in there, and I think a lot of people felt that way. And then I saw in 2020 started coming back in, and I said, okay, I've missed it. I had a lot of friends that stayed in throughout that entire time, that got involved in the entire ecosystem, that put their expertise from like the Web 2 industry or service industry or business industry and transferred it into Web 3, and they did very well for themselves. So I saw this coming back in 2020, and I just said, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I put my entire life into it. I just dove head first in the end of 2020. Like NFTs weren't that big at that time. And then a few months after I really started getting back into crypto, into the market, and doing some trading, NFTs kind of just took off. And at first I was still like, pictures on the internet, come on guys, like what, like come on. And and I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, right? I didn't, like, for a couple months I was just like, it ain't gonna be nothing. And one of my friends was like, really, dude, like, look, just check it out, come into this community, get a feel for it, see what's going on, and see if you really like it, because it's so much more than pictures. And I was just like, okay, fine, I'll check it out. So I hopped on Discord, and I was like, Discord, really? Come on, Discord, like, we play video games on Discord. I was like, come on. And so I jumped in, and I had a blast. It was completely different than the whole coin space, where it was very just ROI driven, and just like number go up, let's go shill, let's go do this, let's go, it was really like I was making relationships. I was talking about real, life, real things happening in my life, and people were having discussions, and we were talking about the future. It was like, honestly, if I could equate it to anything, it was like back in like early 2017 when I was in crypto, like when like the world was bright and the future was bright and there were possibilities. That was the NFT space. That is the NFT space. People are thinking of new ways to go forward, right? It's not just,
right.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go. And yeah, so that's what got me into it. And I jumped in. I just really dove headfirst into the community aspect. I loved the idea of just being able to communicate with people on a regular basis. And somebody made me a mod, then somebody made me a community manager. I found that my talents in the real world as like a manager, as a operations director and all that can't fit perfectly into this. And the rest, they say, is history.
Yeah, no, it's a great story. And I mean, one of the reasons we wanted you on the team was you're so good at drawing people in. And I think it's so interesting. It's kind of ironic that Web3 is kind of anonymous, but yet these communities are what is making projects successful these days. And the community is so open and it's so collaborative and it's so sharing. So why do you think that is? You know, people want to be anonymous, but yet they come in here and they really engage and give it their authentic self.
I think so, man. There's so many layers to that. I think the first thing, like you said, anonymous, I think it's interesting. So like on LinkedIn, for example, my picture, my PFP is one of my NFTs from a community that I really love. And it's not a big community, you know, there's probably like 20 active people in it, but that's my home base. You know, those people are my family, you know? But when I have that PFP up there, I'm able to do emojis that I probably wouldn't do. Like if I had my face, you know, I wouldn't do like certain emojis. I wouldn't act a certain way, but it's my real self coming out because it's so hard to say. Like, I have that disconnect of the person that I pretend to be. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. We all have that facade that we put on day to day, but we know who we are behind it. You know, we know the goofy person, we know the annoying person, we know who we are behind it. And I think when you have that PFP, when you have that bit of anonymity, like you can be that person 100%. There's nothing holding you back. You don't have this self-image that you have to portray. And I think that's powerful. I think that's a really powerful tool for community. And then I think the other aspect of it is the Web2 space was great for what it did for like the global economy, but it wasn't great for the individual, right? So the Web2 space was very top down, like, okay, how can we siphon as much value away from these people? How can we take it into our own hands? And we know better than these people. So we're going to take it and do something with it because they don't really know what they're doing, right? And like, sure, like they're like, look, they did a lot. The Web2 space has done a lot for humanity. But Web3 takes it and flips it around, where it's not top down. It's not what can we get from people, it's what can we give to people. And that whole dynamic, that shift in dynamic, that change is it's refreshing, especially in today's world where we put the power back in people's hands and we say, what do you want? Like, what do you want? You know, one thing I always tell, like, one thing I try to drive home to like developers of projects, for example, a lot of developers, they come in and they say, this is my project. This is what I want to happen. This is what I'm going to do. And then that's it because it's mine and I made it. Man, that's Web2. That's Web2. You have to be able to, you know, you're not above your community. You guys are right here. If anything, this is the developer and it's right here. The community, the people, if you treat them like the boss, right? And like this comes from my service background, right? Too, like, you know, because customer service, the customer is always right. The truth, 100%. That's just how it is. And when you treat your community as your you know, executive, as your CEO, as the person who dictates. Granted, you're going to have the moon boys, you're going to have the people who are like, you know, buy up the floor and burn. You know, you got to make some decisions there, executive decisions. But your core community who really loves the project, who's really there for the project, who's a family, if you treat them as partners and equals instead of subordinates, and people that are just going to buy your product and just treat them as consumers, if you don't treat them like that and you treat them as real people, people who have real ideas and feelings and incorporate that into your structure and your model, you're going to succeed. And what's great is now, like, you see larger companies taking that same model. You see Fortune 500 companies taking that model and saying, there's something here. Yeah, there is, because when you treat people like people, they're going to be engaged and they're going to want to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
100%. That's like my favorite story when it comes to a CEO comes to mind. There's like a franchise around us called Market Basket. It's a grocery store, but everybody that talks about the founder, Mike DeMoulis, I believe his name is the founder, everybody would mention that because it's like everybody works and they're in high school. It's the place to work. People, there's all different levels. There's people there for 20 years, 30 years. Everybody would say, as soon as he walked in with every location, he would say hi and talk to every single person in that building, the meat department, the janitor staff, the people in the back, and treat them like family, make sure that they were doing well. And it seems like every CEO I read that I really enjoy has that quality. And I think people kind of get kind of the idea that the CEO or the head, lead, whatever you want to call them, is like this person in charge and authoritative and is not collaborative. But the best ones are in a healthy workspace, especially in Web3 world, are the ones that hear the community, what they're saying, how you doing, having a great conversation, because it makes them feel as they're part of something bigger, as you just said too, rather than saying, yeah, you're the community just because you're a holder and you're not part of the team, founding team, your decision is not important. It's completely wrong.
And think about it. Okay, there's one of me. There's one of me, there's one Kosta, there's one Lisa. Okay. There are 100 people in our community. There are 200 people in our community. There are 1,000 people in our community, and all of them have that aha idea. Every single one of them. Totally. Every single one of them has that idea. And I mean, just think about that. 1,000 aha, big, mind-blowing, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. Every single one of them has one.
That is what is so exciting about this. That's what's so exciting about our project. And as you know, we can kind of transition into how do you build a community. One of the things, our team is global, and we wanted that because we want to reach out to all areas of the world to bring in people. And it's not that I keep saying the best minds, but it isn't that. It doesn't have to be the best. We want diversity and inclusion, and we're all the same. It doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter the color of our skin. It's if you want to be in here and you want to be part of the community and you have an entrepreneurial spirit or creative endeavors and you want support and excitement, this is the place to be. Yep. So having that in mind was how we decided to build out the community. And then talk a little bit about how you as chief officer go and actually build that out.
Yeah, sure. So it starts with the process of, one thing that you don't want, and one thing that I think Web2 marketing kind of gets wrong in some sense. It might be good for some models, but it's not good for this model. And that's passive behavior. Like a lot of Web2 is perfectly fine with passivity and passiveness and just like passive clicking on icons and clicking on buttons. But with the Web3 space, we need to get rid of that. And honestly, I think with Web2 too, we need to get rid of that. We want to eliminate passive behavior. We need to free their minds and I guess sort of wake them up from the matrix, so to speak. Yeah. And show them the world at large, and when you eliminate that passive behavior, what the future can hold, right? And not just for a big business idea, but just a future holds for you and the relationships you can make, and the network that you can have, the amount of friendships that you can make, right? So creating a place where there is less passive behavior and more actual engaged behavior. Step 2 is you really want to create a strong self-replicating culture. So the idea with communities is it like I said, Web3 is not a top-down thing, it's a bottom-up. So the goal isn't for you to retain control. We all know the idea of the corner office executive, right? Who they're so afraid of losing control, losing their position of power, that they will do enough to where they are needed forever, right? They'll do enough, but then they'll keep the business back. They'll keep the system back so that they can keep their position of power. And it's just a horrible way of doing things. So with the Web3 and with community, you want to empower them to take control. So the idea is the longer the community goes, the less you should be involved. The community should be just taking over because they want to. They enjoy the space. They want to share their ideas. They want to take leadership positions. And they'll do it on their free time. That's the amazing thing about this too, is that these people, they just want to be a part of something amazing. And so you want to provide that for them. And how you do that really is like, you want to create a funnel, right? So it's a funnel, and the experience that you want to provide is one that that I think, once again, Web 2 kind of gets wrong. Web 2 is all about dopamine, right? So it's like dopamine clicks. Everything you do is dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. Like, people like your tweet, people retweet you, you have a certain amount of followers. It's all dopamine, right? But what you really need to do is you need to incorporate some endorphins and serotonin. So how I look at it is like, the dopamine is needed. You need people to come into a community and they need to feel that warm, fuzzy feeling at first, right? You have to get them in, and you have to make them feel happy. And dopamine is a great tool for that. So, you know, warm greetings by the community, having people there that know how to communicate with people effectively, and know how to speak to them on their level, how to transition how they speak to a person based on who that person is, right? It's not just a one size fits all. So once you do that, they're getting that dopamine. But the other thing is that you need a bit of a challenge in the communities that you manage. It can't just be, here's everything, it's all at your fingertips, here you go. You need a bit of a challenge, because us as humans, if, you know, and this is a bit of psych 101, I guess, but if we get something for free, we don't value it, right? So you need a bit of a challenge.
I just had this situation today. That's so funny.
It's true though, right? Like, if you go pick something up for free, like, you don't even care about it. Like you just don't. But that you know, $100,000 car that you purchased, man, if somebody even comes near that thing, you're like, you know. So you know, that's just how we work. So you need a bit of challenge, and so that way, when you're completing these challenges, you're getting those endorphins, and those endorphin pathways are set, right? So you're creating that relationship with what you're doing. So your mind says, this is valuable. And that's one way we could even trick ourselves in real world and in our daily lives. Do something that challenges you, people. Don't do something that's easy. Right. Challenge yourself. But and then once you overcome that challenge, once you complete that obstacle, once you jump over it, once you do the hurdle, then you get that serotonin set in, and that serotonin creates that long-lasting relationship with what you just did, saying, I did that, I achieved it, this is amazing, I'm here now.
Yep.
And then after that, it's off to the races. Now you have your leaders. Now you have your people who want to participate. Now you have your moderators, community moderators. You have all of the people who have done that path, and they're bought in, and they love what you're doing. And I know that might sound a little bit like manipulation, but it's really not. It's utilizing the tools that we have in here. And you know, the best minds in the world will say to train your own brain that way, right? That's how you trick yourself to do things you don't even want to do, you know?
That's very true.
And yeah, so that's a bit of how I kind of go about it.
Great. How long, because you talked about a lot, you talked about how you build it, how you sustain it. And how long would you say on average does it take for a community to actually sustain it on their own, kind of have the training wheels of your leadership come off?
It really varies. It depends on the project. It's all like, you can't throw a blanket on something and just say it's all the same, you know? So it really depends on the project. It depends on what you're doing. I would say anywhere from, you know, it all depends. If it's a PFP project and it was just a hype launch and it's just like, you know, let's moon and all whitelist and all VIP, and it's just like, and you have like 50,000 people in there, and then like the day after MIT you have like 5, you know, then then it's going to take you a few months. It's going to take you probably 5 to 6 months possibly to really get that community, because you've never built it in the first place. So like it's important. It's always important. And this is for any aspiring community manager or somebody launching their NFT project. It's important to realize that it is so much easier to build your community before mint than it is after mint. And if you build that community before mint, you're going to save, let's say you spend 3 weeks, 4 weeks, let's say 3 to 4 weeks building a community, strong community. You're going to save 4 to 5 months on the back end. Like it'll take like 10 times longer for you to do it after mint. So don't rush this. Like, community is important. But if it's a mission-driven project, if it has a vision, and it has brought in the community that engages with that mission, that believes in that mission, it could probably be done in a month or two, like easily, like probably even sooner. It just depends on what that mission is, and if people resonate with it or not. What's the favorite part about your job? Man, there's so many. This. I mean, you know, I love that I'm able to speak with amazing people every day and get paid for it. Like, you know, I'm just being honest. Like, I get to have fun. I get to host, you know, I get to host events. I get to play poker. I get to talk to people about their passion. I get to, I mean, like, what is going on right now? And everything I do, I love it. I love training people. So I could go on about how much I love this. So like one thing that I've done in my past is, you know, I was a training director. I was a culture and training development director. And I've always enjoyed the fact that, like, the act of taking somebody that might not have, you know, that many skills in a certain area, and showing them, like, this is how it can be, this is how your life can be, and then changing their life forever, like forever, where like they will never have to work minimum wage again, like ever, you know, like they can go, you know, they can provide for their family, they can, like, and I did that. Like, I had a part in that, you know, like that's, like we all say, like, we've heard that thing, like, if you change one person's life, you know, you've made it, you've done it, you know, like that whole cliche, but it's so true. And I love it. And you can never tell. That doesn't come across at all. You have absolutely no enthusiasm for none, zero. Let me ask you this. Kosta and I are always talking about, you know, why we came up with the project, and we are the same. Like, there's no holding back on the enthusiasm. You can tell that this is a passion project and we're super pumped up about it. But, you know, coming from the founders, that's one thing, right? We have to be pumped up about it. So you coming on the team, which we're so grateful to have you, but from your perspective, what got you excited? Because you didn't have to come on the team. You got tons of business. What drew you to Billionaire Lynx Club? So I think, so in our first interview, I shared, at the end of the first interview, I shared a link. Do you guys remember the link that I shared by any chance? Was it the statistic link? No. That was one of them. But no, it was the link to the project that I tried to launch like a while ago. Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally. And what you guys are doing and what your vision is has been a vision of mine forever. Connecting people, because, you know, I've been in this space so long, like even back in 2017, I saw so many people on that social media platform that had so many amazing skills, that were great artists, that were great musicians, that were great thinkers, entrepreneurs, and nobody ever gave them the time. Nobody really like took the time to say, hey, come with me. Like, they would, but it was all self-serving. It was like, come with me so I can use you for what I want you to do for me. And it wasn't like, let's build something together. And so that's been a dream of mine forever, is creating a space, what I call, what I like to say, it's a digital maker space, right? And it's for makers to come together and create something amazing together. So that drew me in. From the minute you guys sent me the link about your project and explained a little bit about it, I was hooked within like 10 minutes. I was like, yes, please. I want to be a part of this.
Good. That's great. That's awesome feedback.
That's that's literally the reason kind of why we started it. I mean, throughout both our lives, we talk about this. I've came across so many talented people, friends, musicians that had passion, social media friends that did TikTok. And a big thing with all of them is like, you had all this talent, but you didn't know what to do. Is like, you could have conversations with them and say, hey, I think this and that, but then somebody else would ask you a question. But there was no like organization to it. And I think a big thing I feel as though on LinkedIn, especially, that I really took an interest in LinkedIn in terms of the Web3 community there too. And it's the same thing. It's everybody has such great ideas. It's people that are developers, social media people, website people, marketers, all interacting on each other's content too. But there's a little bit of like disorganization somewhere. I wish there was some way. And back in I would say the summer, September-ish, it was when I started to see projects take off that were missing those pieces. And it didn't click until like October, where I was like, took this idea of what me and Lisa have been talking about since we've met, about taking talented people and putting them together in a place that they can collaborate and be free to think. It was like, I don't know why projects haven't done that. And that was when people asked, like, what was the aha moment? It was just that click of creating something that everybody else wasn't doing in a place that people could be entrepreneurs, creators, artists, whatever it is, could all be in a place too, and see each other grow. And I think that's honestly, if we do that, and which we will do that, and you have all these talented people in one place, organized from all different fields, we can collaborate together. And 5 years from now, we always say, Lisa's the one that always says this all the time, 5 years from now, you could be like, I got my start. I'm this worldwide singer. I started in VLC. Like, this was my NFT. I held one of these. And we could have people, whether you're successful already or not, collaborating together. And this could be something that for years and years to come could be something incredible that I can't even put into words sometimes.
A launch pad for talent.
Exactly. That's perfect. I was just going to say, I wanted to just mention, I think the people that I've talked to, sometimes they get confused because when people don't know a lot about NFTs, and what they do know is it's a PFP, and they're like, I don't understand what you're doing. Yeah. So basically, we aren't a piece of art that's going to be traded. Your NFT purchase gets you the membership to be in this club and access all that it has to offer.
Totally. So, then you can trade it if you want to. I mean, if you don't like the community,
you can trade it, absolutely. But it's think of it as a membership. NFTs can be used as membership. It's your pass to get into this community where we share ideas, collaborate, and there's a component to it that's kind of like a Shark Tank component that are for community members only. This isn't for projects outside of the community, that you can come and pitch your idea, and the community votes and on funding you, and the funds come from our DAO. So it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get picked, you can always come back and try again. However, you have access to thousands and thousands of people within this community that can send your idea or your art or your music or business idea out to everybody in their networks. I mean, the reach is so enormous and so impactful.
And even if you don't get picked, okay, so let's say there's a DAO vote, okay, and you don't get picked. 1,000 people say yes, 1,200 people say no. You don't get picked. That 1,000 people love your idea, and they're gonna reach out to you, say, let's do this. Look, I mean, like, so you might not get picked by the DAO funds, but there's going to be so many people that are like, dude, I love your idea. Let's do this. And you guys can make something happen. And I do want to just say, like, I think the reason why a lot of projects haven't done this before is because it is that fear factor. If we bring people together and they do their own thing, well, then it's not our thing. And like, that's fine, man. Like, let them do their own thing. And
that's what we want to encourage. That's why we'll say on all these podcasts that we're on, it's that we aren't the competition. We're not looking to hold on to your ideas. We're looking almost like a think tank. Just come in, get your brains going, start the networking happen. You could be not all of our brains work the same. Musicians are incredibly talented, but sometimes have a hard time executing on their path forward. So there will be other people within the group that could help with that. A musician can connect with a videographer and they can put together a music video. You can come in here if you are thinking of starting an NFT project and you don't have the resources or the time or even to know where to go to start vetting out how you build out a team. It's a whole nother topic of conversation. Because it's huge and it's so important, as we all know. But you can come in here. These people are already vetted. We'll already have a successful project. There's founders in this community that have already done it. So that's the part that and Kosta and I, the whole team is going to be in Discord. So it's not something that you're going to come into and then boom, we're somewhere in the dark. So I'm really excited to be a part of those conversations. And see where we can take people.
I think 100%. A big thing with that whole, you both said, one, Lisa, you're saying competition, and James was saying like that control element too. I was listening to one of my favorite podcast shows. It's called the School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. He has a bunch of great guests on, and they asked him when he was starting this, like, why didn't you name it the Lewis Howes Show? He said, well, I wanted it to be bigger than Lewis Howes. If it was Lewis Howes, then it would be about me, but it's not about me. It's about the guests that I bring on the show and the value that they provide to everybody. So if we wanted this to be about us, it would be the Kosta and Lisa Club. Then we would be
we'll do that one next.
Exactly. And the beauty of this, to tie in that whole Web3 component of it, is what happens is after that we mint, we sell out, and then what will happen on the secondary market for people that don't understand NFTs, it's up to that community, the founders, the team, the people in the community, to constantly providing value. And then society dictates what it's worth being the Billionaire Lynx Club. So if the Billionaire Lynx Club is doing events every year, and this is a think tank, Shark Tank, where we're launching projects and projects are getting their start, then it's be more valuable. You're going to want to be in this group, and there's a limited supply of that. So it's not just a one and done. That's what you would call a cash grab in this industry, or just that quick PFP project that James mentioned, hype it up, moon boy, done. This is almost like you have to think of as a stock, and your ticket into this club is the NFT.
Yeah, that's right. Great way to put it. Well, guys, this has been awesome.
For sure.
We'll see you tomorrow at the team meeting. But thanks for taking the time today to get on this episode. We appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Becoming. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate that effort, and we'll catch you in the next episode.